everyone, it's Joe Bradley here in Houston, Texas, and just want to thank you for stopping by my channels. Thank you for stopping by my page. Thank you for stopping by wherever it is that you found me. I just want to thank you for stopping by, and this is another one of my drive-by videos. And today I just want to take this time early in the morning to lift up someone's heavy heart. All right, because there are some things that happen sometimes that kind of get us down, you know, and you kind of wonder if you're going to be able to get back up again, or if you're going to be able to make it through. You know, you have those, sometimes you just have moments, things that don't go the way that you hope they would go, or maybe a business transaction didn't go the way you would, or a relationship, or maybe you didn't get the job, or whatever it might be, right? And it because of the way that these things may affect us emotionally. Now, if you watch my video about the power of having a mastermind, then this probably, and if you have a mastermind group, then this probably doesn't happen to you as often as it happens to someone who doesn't have a mastermind group, someone who doesn't spend their time on a regular basis filling their mind up with positive information. Because like I said in the video a couple of days ago, positive energy, positive emotional thoughts, positive emotional audio will definitely make it to where when situations arise and when circumstances happen, that they don't take away your day, they don't take away your purpose, they don't take away who you are, they don't take away how you feel about yourself, because you're already filled up with good, positive, emotional thoughts and emotional information. You're filled already with possibility. But if you're watching this video and maybe you just have one of those moments, you have one of those moments where you thought that this was going to happen and this didn't. You thought that was going to happen and it didn't. And that moment when you first realize that it's not going down the way you thought it was going to go down, and it just seems like everything is over. Well, I was reminded just the other day, I was listening to one of my mentors, Les Brown, as he was talking about possibility and believing in the possibility. And I remember him talking about George Washington Carver. And if you don't know anything about George Washington Carver, then I invite you to really look at how he came up with using the peanut for the things he used it for. You know, they were living in a time kind of similar to now, where the economy wasn't all that great, right? There wasn't a lot of work anywhere. The ground seemed to be fighting everything that they planted. You ever been there before, where everything that you did, everything you seemed to plant, everything you seemed to try to do, it just failed? It's almost like the ground was fighting against all your seeds. Well, this is where they were. They were fighting against. They were trying to make it, but the ground fought against the farmers. And so George Washington Carver, he came out and he said, "Hey, this peanut here, this peanut is it can grow in the toughest of grounds, and then excuse me, not only can it grow in the toughest of grounds, not only can it grow in the hardest of fields, not only can you harvest these peanuts almost regardless of the weather, but you can turn around and sell the peanuts for money to take care of whatever else you have." And so they were all excited, and everyone loved George Washington Carver, because he came up with this idea. He came up with, and so they started selling peanuts, and they celebrated. And I can imagine that they probably wrote some songs about him, and if they had a radio station back then they probably had songs about George Washington Carver playing on the radio, and they probably made plays about George Washington Carver, the hero. He showed us how to get out of this famine. He showed us how to get out of this economic downturn. He showed us how to get out of this problem with this peanut. Thank you, George Washington Carver, right? I could just imagine all that. But then just like anything else, you know, the masses started taking the idea of the peanut and growing it and trying to sell it and everything. But what happens when everyone is selling the same thing? Well, naturally, supply overrules and makes demand kind of null and void, and that's what happened. You know, everyone had peanuts. Peanuts were piled up everywhere, right? And so what was at one time worth a life-changing experience became nothing more than peanuts. And then that's when they began to heckle George Washington Carver. They began to heckle him, and they began to talk about how stupid of a idea this was in the first place, and they began to talk about how foolish he was for coming up with an idea about peanuts. What are we supposed to do with these, right? How are we going to get rid of all these peanuts? My backyard is piled with peanuts, and I have peanuts all in the kitchen, and you know, and they as much as they heralded him, as much as they praised him, as much as they shouted about his name in lights, as much as they painted him as the hero of the town, to that degree is the degree in which they criticized him now. Look, life is filled with swift transitions. One moment we could be up, the next moment we could be down. One moment the same people that are praising you could be the same people that are really just trying to throw you under the bus. So George Washington Carver went back into his lab, and I could just imagine him crying because what was once his glory story was now his responsibility, and now it was his problem, right? And so he just cried, and I could see him crying and begging for an answer. And sometimes you gotta beg for an answer. Sometimes you have to call into the imagination of your mind for an answer. And that's what he did. And so, not too long after, he came back out and he showed the crowd that there were 300, 400, 600 different uses for the peanut. You talk about how you could take the oil from peanuts and you can cook with it, and you can. I mean, there were so many different things, and you know, one of the things is peanut butter. You know, peanut butter and jelly. I grew up with peanut butter and jelly. Thanks, John. I grew up eating peanut butter and jelly. Thanks, George Washington Carver. Had some great lunches as a kid, right? But the point that I want to make, though, is that when George was down, when it didn't go the way that he wanted it to go, when it ended up in a place where his back was against the wall, where his idea that was once heralded was now thrown in the garbage, he didn't quit. He didn't throw in the towel, but he leaned on this one thing that I'm going to tell you to lean on. And this comes from, like I said, my mentor, Les Brown. He leaned on the fact, and he leaned on the reality that because he was still in it, because he was still there, it's possible. He said there are hundreds and maybe even thousands of possibilities just from this one peanut. And I want to let you know, as I drive down this freeway, and yesterday it was a torrential downpour, but today the sun is shining, as you can see, and the sky is blue. And so if you have a stormy day right now, just know that the clouds aren't going to stay around always. And if George Washington could spend those hours coming up with all those possibilities about a peanut, then imagine the possibilities that lie within your life. See, I'm talking to somebody right now who may be on the verge of giving up, but I'm going to let you know that you have too many possibilities within your mind that can change the world as we know it. There are so many things that we still use and we still do today because George Washington Carver found all the possibilities that were available inside of that one little peanut. And so whenever you get down, whenever you begin to quit on yourself, whenever you think that it's over, whenever you think that you don't have a chance, whenever you think that the final bell has rung, that the game clock is done, I want you to think about George Washington Carver and his peanut and say, you know what? It's possible. It's possible. I don't have to give up now. It's possible. I don't have to quit now. Maybe they can't see it, but I don't have to quit, because whatever it is I'm looking for is possible. It's possible. Just say it to yourself. It's possible. And I want to let you know that we're building an army. And anyone is welcome as long as you're willing to believe that regardless of what the scoreboard might say, regardless of what the circumstances are, it's possible to come out as a victor in this thing. Do me a favor. If this has helped you in any kind of way, then please leave a comment below and let me know how this has touched your life. And also share it with someone else so they can benefit as well. And if you're looking for a vehicle, that can help those possibilities for you to come out, then I invite you, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then there's either a link or there's a phone number or anything. Give me a call or click the link and do whatever that link tells you to do, whether it tells you to fill in your information, if it tells you to send an email, whatever. Just do that. I look forward to talking to you. Like I said, we're building an army. Looking forward to having some people who won't stop believing in the possibility to come on board. All right? God bless you, and I'll see you on tomorrow.